And welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. This is a late night Saturday night record after the Boston Bruins earlier in the day lose a matinee at TD Garden 3-2 to the St. Louis Blues. The game ended in overtime. Shen scoring the overtime game-winning goal. We'll talk about that in a moment. We welcome Razor back after his quick road trip, a couple of stops in St. Louis and Dallas. We didn't do a show after the Dallas game.
Thank God.
Yeah, I was about to say that. We will address it in general terms, I guess. Let's first tell you, though, about something that is consistently great for us, and that is Fazenda Coffee. Fazenda Coffee is our lead podcast sponsor. We cannot thank them enough. Go to fazendacoffee.com/morningbrew to check out the Morning Brew blend, the Morning Brew hats, and there's even some Morning Brew canteen travelers still available. If you go to Morning Brew, fazendacoffee.com/morningbrew, you'll see the bundle where you can get a hat, a coffee, and a tumbler for $75. That includes free shipping. Also, if you own a cafe or a restaurant, go check out fazendacoffee.com/wholesale, and they can set you up. They can do so many things for you, whether it's a cafe, a bakery, a restaurant, a hotel. Check out fazendacoffee.com/wholesale, and you will not be disappointed whatsoever. Thank you to Fazenda Coffee. All right. Razor, thank you to you for being the positive one in this podcast relationship of ours.
Yeah.
Because you are. You're level-headed. You get it. I'd like to think I'm level-headed, but I'm not. I'm less level-headed. I'm probably a little more reactionary, hot-headed than you. But do you feel any different after these two games, bud? Because we have the moment of goodness in St. Louis 5 days ago. There was so much talk, Razor, of this win is big. We're going to learn from it. We're going to build on this. A foundational win, I remember a player saying. And yet you go into Dallas and you lose 7-2. And then you go back home in a game against St. Louis, a team that is not good and missing people. I understand it's the NHL, and I respect the hell out of that partner. But you're, in theory, a better team than them, and you play what I would call is a very poor game when it's all said and done at home. You lose in overtime. It's not just that you lost, it's how you lose. So with all that said, let me just ask you, are you still level-headed and okay? Or are you a little bit not so much?
No, I'm still, I think I'm still, I'm certain, I know I'm less negative than the population. I'm probably a little less, and I think you're the next step down. I'm probably a little, more positive than that. It's odd.
What gives you that ability to be? So I'm not saying you're okay with it. I'm saying you're like, what gives you that ability to say, I've seen some of this and man, it doesn't look good, but I'm still okay with it. Meaning they're going to be all right. Yeah.
It's a couple of things. One is I just truly don't understand. I don't truly believe that this group will have special teams that are this bad all the way through the season. They're basically at the bottom of the league and they're still 500. That is kind of crazy. Just, if you think about that, typically the teams that are at the very bottom are the San Jose Sharks, who are 2-12. That's one. Two, the players, nobody has outperformed in any way whatsoever. And typically that does find its level. So I believe in that. I believe in a little bit of water rising, just getting back to the mean. And then I think there's some mediocrity in the conference and in the division that I didn't see quite the same way. Everyone's 500. The Bruins are still technically in a wild card position right now. Playoffs,
technically not by points percentage, but I know what you mean.
But they're right there. It's 3 wins away. It's literally 3 wins. So why would I ruin my next 60 games being negative now? That's for me. we might end up getting to a point where it's real negative end of January, March. That could happen, but I'm not doing it now because there's still 63 games to play and they're not at the bottom of the league and people are underperforming. Special teams are underperforming. That can easily change. That can change. Like it's not and then on top of it, listen, the last two games, you have two of your top 5 defensemen not playing. That's a big deal in the National Hockey League. I the injury to Andrew Peeke has been vastly overlooked, and now with this Lindholm injury, like look at the back end they just played with in Dallas, and then against St. Louis. So you say that St. Louis is undermanned. Well, I'd rather be undermanned like St. Louis than undermanned the way the Bruins are right now. Like it's kind of it's been overlooked. That's all.
I would say
That's
both
it.
of them. The only thing I would say though, partner, is that I would call it equal. Not that I'm here to debate who's more injured, So,
Yeah.
but you're talking for St. Louis, you're talking 2 of their top 4 defensemen, right? Broberg is out, and who else am I forgetting? Another defenseman. I'm blanking right now, but also what's his name? Robert Thomas.
They don't have
He's
Thomas.
out too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, there's another. They both are. That's okay. But to me, I look at this and I keep going. I've said this for a couple of months now. I just feel like something is missing, Razor. I feel like the passion for this team, the ability to sustain plays, willing to stay in the battle. We've seen it infrequently, not enough. I don't think they need to be, when I say desperate, of course, you want to play desperate. You can't play desperate for 82 games, though. I get that. It's not possible. I understand. But I feel like we're at a time, my friend, that they got to be more desperate. And I just haven't seen it enough. Now, with all that said, I mean, I'm not, oh my God, it's over with. I'm just saying, I want to feel like they did take something out of that St. Louis game. I really do. And we haven't seen it, obviously. It's not that they've lost. It's how we talked about that in the pregame before the Dallas game. Win or lose, this is about how they play, how their details are, how their effort is. And it was, in my eyes, it just wasn't there, and it wasn't acceptable.
Yeah, it is all of those things. It is, I don't think anyone is accepting it. I don't think anyone is happy about it. I think they're all kind of looking at each other. This hasn't happened to them in a long time. It just hasn't, and I think there are spots within their psyche that is affected by it. They just don't really know why it's not going well for them, where they feel like they're doing the exact same thing they've done the last 2 years, where they got 900 points over the regular season. They feel like they're doing the same thing. I promise you that. I'm sure David's still eating the same pregame meal that he has the last 5 years when he scored 60 goals a year. And it's just different. And I think they're grappling with that. I think they're all trying to find different ways. And you look at Trent Frederick hasn't scored since opening night. How is that possible? How
I don't know.
Why? What's the answer to that? So you ask me these, like we ask each other these questions, right? How is that possible? That it doesn't, there's no answer to that. There's no words that you can actually explain to someone why Trent Frederick scored on opening night in a 6-3 loss and then hasn't scored again until game 19. You can't explain that.
But is it little things like not being on the inside as much, for instance, like he was in the game against St. Louis, where he did get there, where he was less worried about handling the puck and just moving his feet? I mean, I understand what you're saying. I know what you mean. And it seems crazy given where he was last year. We had him on our show before the season began. I talked about 50 points out of him. 50.
Of course. No
and
brainer.
Thinking, and is it that he's thinking about his contract? Is it, that there's that, you can tell me better than that. You've gone through that, You're heading into
Well,
free
I
agency
think
and you want to impress, and just can that overtake you?
Well, I
Can
think
that?
more than anything, like I think you're just seeing like, holy, we used to win 15 of our first 20 games in the season. We're not now. And what is this? And so again, everybody talks about adversity and going through it and making you better. Like it does because there's no answers to it. And you feel it and you feel horrible. And these guys do right now. They don't know. They don't know what to do. And that goes all the way through. Like you look at this and they should at least score a little bit on the power play. They should at least kill some penalties every once in a while. They should, Trent Frederick should at least score once in those 18 games in between not scoring, just off of his head or his back or his ass or whatever it is. So I agree. Again, I completely understand the negativity and the frustration and this sucks and they should be better and they're not doing it. But it's not. I just know as a player, you go through this and you don't understand why you suck. You don't, and you're trying your best and you're trying to figure it out, and you just don't know why you can't get that one more save in my situation, or you can't make that one more pass or that one more play. There's a play like Charlie McAvoy hits Charlie Coyle in the seam, and it was right before Frederick scored, so it kind of worked out. But it was a perfect play for both of them. Charlie bobbles the puck. Like, he would take that pass 99 times out of 100, and he would just sizzle it past Binnington in the first period, and he doesn't. And you don't understand why that's happening. And so that's, again, all of those things. It's a long rant now that I'm going on, but that's why I'm hopeful that they turn it around. I am and hopeful, not like I just feel like they will get something good going at some point. I don't know what it is though. That, of course, if I knew the answer to that, I'd be Scotty Bowman. Like, it's hard to coach. It's just a feeling and a vibe. And I think we saw the vibe the other way the last couple of years, and we should remember that and know that there is the opposite to that. And I think that's where they are right now. And the fact that they're 500 is actually pretty amazing. If you go through the numbers and where guys are at, it is pretty interesting. That's how I look at it. Like, okay. I've been on bad teams, and I've been on teams that have gone 5-15 to start the year that look better than this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about the fact? Well, I got a lot of places I can go right now, but I'm going to say, what about the fact that they're 500, given that they've beaten teams that, quote unquote, they better beat or they should beat, and they've had a miserable time with the teams that are much higher in the standings. Now, they've lost to Florida twice. You can understand that. They lost to Carolina
twice. You lost to Dallas
twice.
Florida twice. You lost to Dallas twice. You lost to Carolina. That's 5 losses that most teams. You're not losing a lot of ground in that situation.
No, they're not. But are those measuring? Doesn't that concern you, Razor? Given that those are the best teams and those are the teams that you wanted to compete with. This is what you remodeled your team to do, so you can compete with them. And Carolina, you lose 8-2, 7-2 in Dallas. The other Dallas game at home, what was that? 5 or 6? It's 5-2. It was 5-2.
Yeah.
So those games, partner, they weren't close. They weren't close. So does that put up a red flag for you? And I'm not trying to prod you. I'm trying to get into because
this is like a good episode to do like the devil's advocate. Like, we'll just do both sides, right?
Right.
Because to that answer, it's does the measuring stick matter in October? Does it matter if you lose 8-2 or 2-1 in October? Right? Like, and I get you can, it does to us because this is what we do, and we have to but to them, if they win 5 in a row, does it matter? And it doesn't. It
doesn't matter if they're playing really well at the right time of the year. I guess what I'm having the harder time with is seeing enough good to say, okay, it ain't pretty right now at times, but you know what? Like, I can see their defensive structure. It's going to be fine. I haven't seen that. That was the bedrock of this team. I get what you're saying about special teams. I do. We have rarely seen the power play be very effective. If there was a game or two, forgive me. I'm sure there has been, but you know what? I'm caught in the grandiose moment of their entries continue to be really difficult. Really, they make it difficult on themselves. And then they don't zip the puck around compared to other teams. You watched that St. Louis power play the other night. They looked, they looked like the Oilers in 84 or 85, right? And I'm talking about seeing little things like battle level, compete level, intensity, and I'm also looking for some more leadership. I think Brad is doing a lot of this right now on his own. I wonder if we're seeing it come to fruition. All of the great secondary level of leaders that they had over the course of the years. And I guess you can go back all the way to 11 and see all these players that helped out the guys wearing the letters on their sweaters. And I don't know if we're there right now. I don't think we're there. I don't know if they have enough of that mid-tier guy, Razor, a high-level veteran that says, I got this middle part of the lineup per se, right? And I'm going to take care of it. And even 2 years ago, they had that, right? I mean, Krejci was the perfect, even though he wore a letter. He was that number 3-4 type guy leading this team. Heck, when Kevin Miller was here and Torrey Krug was here, and I'm thinking that those type guys. And I wonder if we're just seeing a void in that area because one guy can't do it all. At least I don't think that one guy can do it all.
No, and he can. And listen, there's 5 new guys that were supposed to be that are still trying to find their way in this, right? And
that's a big thing.
It's a big thing, and it's either I think but to that point, right? I feel like it's too early for the autopsy on those players and their leadership skills. Like, let them. It's been a month and a half. Let them still find their way and let them still have a little bit of a voice. The culture of the Boston Bruins and that hanging over this group with some of these new guys is something that they're probably, a Castellic. Listen, he's played so well, he should have a voice, and he's probably still finding his way with that. Of course, Lindholm and Zadorov's got a big voice right out of the gates. He has no problem, but Lindholm's kind of a guy who feels his way and what that means. So again, that's yes, it hasn't been good to this point. The report card on them is not good to this point, just like the special teams. But that is something that these things don't take a lot to click. That I guess that's my thing. It doesn't take a lot for these things to kind of click a little bit and have a line like Charlie Coyle and Frederick and Merkulov catch a little steam and build everybody else up. Geeky coming back in and playing pretty well after struggling first 15. You're seeing little pieces of it. It's just, it's come at a time where you lost 2 of your good defensemen and
you might have lost Castellic as well.
Correct. Right. So we'll see where he's at there. So I'm not trying to, I'm really not like doing this as like the Homer voice. I just know, like, I'm just looking at the standings and everybody else is losing and everybody else is 500. And this is something that, again, it's not like they're 12 points out of a playoff right now. And again, until they get to that point, that's, that should be hopeful for people, as frustrating as it is losing at home. But we're used to something that maybe isn't coming back. The magic of 1,000-game ceremonies day after day after day. The magic of guys scoring 400 goals every other week. The magic of Hall of Famers. Like, it's going to be a long time till we get back to that. But so in the meantime, it's a grind. In the meantime, it's a grind, and let's see if this group can make their own magic through that grind somehow.
We brought the Bruins brought up Merkulov and Tufte for Saturday's game against St. Louis. Tyler Johnson still away, family issue. Johnny Beecher gets scratched. That's pretty much all they could do in this short period of time from flying back from Dallas and then getting set to take on a matinee game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else you could do in the sense of you're not going to pull off a big trade just yet. But is that was it effective? They didn't win. So, but do you think that will, is taking out a guy like Johnny Beecher, who, he had a nice start to the season. The whole line has stopped scoring a bit, but that's fine. We all expected that. None of it, but his minutes the last couple of games have ridden up and down, right? The elevator has gone up and down. Does that rattle anybody's cage anymore, partner? Does it put guys on notice, bringing up two guys like that from the P Bruins? And, I mean, and if it doesn't, then is it the point just to kind of catch lightning in a bottle to see if one of those two guys or both of them for a game or two can bring you something?
Well, I think it's different now, right? It's different than when you were following the league in 2002, when you would do this on a daily basis. If you there would be 4 new players in the dressing room tomorrow morning at Warrior had this be 2003. And you'd send goalies up and down based off of this, right? It was a different time. So I don't think you necessarily get the same oomph out of these call-ups as you used to, because every young guy's on a one-way or a one-way guarantee, or a two-way guarantee, I should say.
Right.
But I think to the point, Beecher is going to be back in the lineup probably now that Kastelik's out. Now Beecher jumps back. He better read that. He better absolutely read that, what that means. Johnson will be back, so you expect, you can maybe add a little bit more. Merkulov played well. He got a look up on the top line, so for his sake, getting that point, he needed an assist. He needed points tonight. He needed to make that play. He needed to get an assist on that play. That keeps him in the lineup. So you hope that maybe he's the lightning in the bottle. Tufte's a big dude. Had a good camp. Probably, more of we just need to switch this up, and Beecher didn't get, we have to send the message. He iced the puck twice, and they scored on 2 icings in Dallas. That's John Beecher's predicament.
Yeah.
So he's the one got buzzed. He got buzzed. I don't know. I don't think it registers on Charlie Coyle's, that. That's not his thing to worry about.
Yeah. I want to go and talk about kind of X's and O's tactically with this team too. A little bit here. At times I feel like they're backing up too much. And I don't think they're telling them to back up. Okay. I don't think they're, but I do think that they're at times they're almost creating separation, Razor, in the neutral zone more, with looking to do a lot of stretch plays. And their defense doesn't seem to be connecting with the forwards and vice versa. And the passes are a half second late. I mean, we saw that in overtime, the Osterley pass. Now, I know that's 3-on-3, but that's kind of what they do, Razor, with these stretch plays an awful lot. He shouldn't have made that pass, but we saw that other times in the game against St. Louis, a bit against Dallas too. And what does that do? Rhetorically stating, it creates gaps. And then what do you do to protect yourself? You go deeper back into your own zone when you get re-attacked off the transition by the opponent, and the gaps are open. We saw that numerous times against Dallas. We marked a bunch, Barry and I did on Nesson for the St. Louis game where they were backing up too. I get it that a lot of teams love the stretch, the post up, the bump into the zone, etc. Do you think that that's work? I mean, maybe it's not an X and O thing. Maybe it's just how they're executing or not executing it. I just feel like they're stretching so much and getting up stationary up at the blue line at times, and they're not able to make the play quick enough. And then it's like their attempted dumping either gets thwarted and they come back, get reattacked, or they dump it into the zone, they chip it in, and by that time they're all tired, so nobody's forechecking, and so it's an easy out for the opponent. Your thoughts on this diatribe that I just went on, and do you agree? Do you not agree? I mean, again, I'm looking at the system and I'm saying, I know they're not teaching guys to back up to the top of the circles, but they end up having to do that an awful lot too much.
I don't think they're executing. I don't think they execute. There was a great play. Example is the word I was looking for. In that first period on the too many men. The stretch, they end up getting a 3-on-2 out of the stretch play, and then Lindholm banks it into Brazeau's skates instead of holding on to and carrying it and recognizing you have to get it in the zone here. Like Florida stretches. The league is stretching. That's where the league's going. It's a copycat league. So for me, I want them to do that. I've been calling them to punt the last 2 playoffs against Florida. Like, you have to play that. You can't hit the guy in the middle anymore. It just doesn't work. There's too much pressure. You have to relieve the pressure with hard rims in your own zone. You have to relieve the pressure with long stretch passes or flip plays. I like the idea of them doing that. I feel like at times they've gotten out of their zone better, and not cleaner, but just better, just easier. They had a long, hard rim to Brazeau in the second period tonight. I'm like, oh, this is Florida Pan. Like, this is what the game is now. Now, the difference is you have to recognize you either make a perfect play through that neutral zone while the D are trying to get back up the ice, or you chip it in while you've caught them off guard and 3-on-2 them down low, which is what Florida typically does. So I feel like I think the execution's off, and I think the execution's off because they're a little bit in between still. They've been used to making plays all the way up the ice for 2 years, and they're trying to work their way out of it. The Pasternaks, the Marchands, they're just playing a different way. So I'm not completely against them stretching it as much. I just think that they have to. And Brad said it after, and Judd said it in the telecast. Marshy said it this week. We have to understand that I don't think they're recognizing situations very well right now, and they're in between on that, and that has to obviously change.
Yeah, it does. That has to change, because if they don't start executing again, I'll go back to much earlier in the show. I'm not as feeling it, seeing it to say, okay, that I'm still able to say they're going to be all right. They're going to be all right. I'm, seeing the lack of execution has definitely been shocking and disappointing. Hard, at times hard to watch. It is not disappointing. Let's recognize our sponsors because they're all high level, high execution people. Okay, we're going to start with Baydog. Baydog Canine Adventure Gear is at a level of quality that is it's just outstanding. Their products, you've got some, I've got some, the harnesses, the leashes, the flotation, the best, the life jackets they have, they're their best dog life jackets that there are. Such high quality, but the most beautiful thing about them is that they're so reasonably priced. They are, they're just easy to use. Dogs, Coop loves it. I put on the Michigan harness and they're like, let's go, buddy. Let's just go. And he's just, prancing around, and
he's a thoroughbred out there in Newton with that on. Everyone's touching him. He's already gets enough attention, and he's got that baby on.
He's a very proud dog wearing his Baydog College Collection, his U of M harness. Go to baydog.com, BAYDOG.com, and check out what they've got there. Your dogs can have the same gear that Mila and Cooper do. I came home and I put this on social media yesterday. I don't know, 2 nights ago. Coop's just keeping my side of the bed warm and sprawled golden retriever like, legs up. I have to shuffle him around so I can get into bed, but he's just a happy dog, and he's happy when he's wearing his Bay Dog equipment. He loves it. Use the code MBRU, BRU, MBRU. Get yourself 15% off. Go to baydog.com. Check out their harnesses and fleeces, their embroidered collars, so many different products there. They take care of the customer beautifully. Go to baydog.com and check out that. If you got a dog or you know somebody that's got a dog, you want to check out baydog.com. If you're looking to do something to your house, whether it's build new construction or just refresh and revitalize your house, go check out Graciano Construction. Graciano Construction serves Greater Boston, Metro West area, other parts of Massachusetts too, but they are the contractor who will help you make a difference in your house. They can and will do it all. Take a look at their bathrooms, kitchens, renovation projects, porch projects. Go online to gracianoconstruction.com. Check out some of their products. They do a great job too, Razor, on social media, especially Instagram. Check that out, gracianoconstruction.com, or call Doug Graciano at 508-330-7589. Call him, discuss what you're looking to do. He'll come over. He'll take a look at things. We're in the midst of talking to him right now, Razor.
What are we off to? What are we up?
Oh, well, Jake has ruined the garage over the years. It is, it is going into a direction that it's not even really a garage anymore. It's pretty much a, I don't know, probably like a wild animal.
A rat nest?
Pretty much. Yes, pretty much. And the doors have been blown off with his shots because somehow, some way, he misses the net about 78% of the time. Right. And he just looks
far
at me.
Down. That's the only way to shoot.
My God.
Why hit the net?
Why hit the net? Glass down. It's that's all it is. Nobody hits the glass like the Boston Junior Eagles 2010 team. But go check out Graciano Construction. Speaking of the 2010 Eagles team, a bunch of them are getting their skates sharpened tonight when I'm done with this on our Sparks Razor. And I know how great it is. Why don't you tell us how great it is?
Certainly. The alumni Sparks machine was cooking tonight at the Shoresy game as well.
How did that go?
Last minute old guys getting the buzz in before they get out on the Aganis Arena. It was interesting. It was a full house, and the alumni guys pulled it off in a 10-9 victory. And it was because of that Sparks machine that was cooking and buzzing before when I got into the room. So make sure you go to sparkshockey.com, use the code BREW50 for $50 off. Again, if you sharpen your skates more than once a week, it pays itself off in absolute no time. The holiday seasons are coming. It is an absolute no-brainer for any family that has hockey players in it to put that baby under a tree, to have that for Hanukkah. It's a no-brainer. It really is, folks. So sparkshockey.com, use the code BREW50. My kids use it on their own now. It's literally the best thing that I've ever bought.
They have unbelievable Black Friday deals coming too, and they may actually, I think they're already happening right now. Sparks Hockey does a great job, and they have carrying cases too. So if you're one of those families that's on the road and you got to take it with you, it's the easiest thing. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. Check out
nothing
Sparks
worse than
Hockey.
trying to find a place in a random town that you've never been to sharpen skates.
No,
Nothing to it.
How often do you sharpen your skates? Like legit? Like how often are you going to sharpen yours? Like
I don't do it very often now, but I do it more because I would never do it ever if I didn't have a Sparks machine. Once every couple of months I toss it down there if I think about it. So it should be more, but I'm lazy. The kids do it all the time.
Once every couple of months. All right. I want to talk about Jeremy Swayman, and I want to talk about what you thought of his performance in Dallas in particular. I want to talk about, let's start with the first goal that was scored a little over a minute into the game. And that's not the reason they lost, but they sure as heck didn't get off to a good start. It was a short side high snipe. I haven't had a chance to ask you about this. I would say from my forward perspective, skater perspective, I'd like that save made, find a way. Tell me if I'm right or wrong there.
I think you're pretty right. I'd love to go to the penalty shot. Even more so, that one, you got to make that save for me.
Okay,
that one bothered me way more because it's a penalty shot. It's on home visiting ice. You make that save, that gets everybody going. That really gets everyone going. So I do agree with you. the first shot of the game, short side. You should make that. He could make that save. He could. It wasn't an easy one.
Yep.
But listen, this is the target that he put on himself, right? This is where he elevated his game. This is now you're an $8 million guy. So if Vasi gives that up, or Shesterkin or anyone else, then you got to make that save. And then for me, the penalty shot one was, even more of a momentum change, more of a momentum big play. The penalty kill's been bad. I was like, oh, this is perfect penalty shot. I'm glad I don't have to see the Dallas power play come over the boards here. Like, this is early in the game. Swayman can make a save, and it wasn't the craziest move. Like, it wasn't. He beat him 7-hole.
Right.
So for me, that one in the first period, I thought he battled through that first period. I thought he made some big saves after it, but listen, when you're an $8 million guy, it does change the narrative a little bit, changes the expectation, and the Bruins could really use a 41 save shutout at this point. And I don't know if your defensive structure is allowing it, to what you were talking about, but there is room for that to happen, and I think that is something that could easily jumpstart them.
Where is his game at? Because for a while, for a couple of weeks, we were saying, listen, they're winning, or they're not winning a lot, but the goaltending has done their job. Both Swayman and Korpisalo. Would you still say? I would say Korpisalo is still doing his job and doing it very well right now.
Yep.
Would you still say that about Swayman? Would you still say, or is it leveled off a bit?
No, I think his numbers don't look great, but I think he got beat up in the Carolina and the Dallas game pretty good. Like, you're just not, your numbers just aren't going to survive that this early in the season. I think he was doing a pretty good job. You look at, before the Dallas game, you look at his 5-on-5 numbers, they're very good. The game against St. Louis, he didn't give up the next one. He gave up 2 power play goals. They were down 2-0. He made some pretty good saves, some pretty good plays. So he's got to find a way now that he has that expectation of starting goaltender. He does. Like, Monday night would be a pretty good time against Columbus. Like, you have to find a way to win that game as a starting
question for this. Let me ask, because you're going, and then I'm just throwing it out. I mean, I know that Jeremy Swayman is going to start that game. I know it.
Yeah.
Would you consider playing Jonas Korpisalo again, given how well he's played?
No, not yet. But you're very happy that Jonas Korpisalo is playing that way, and that you have the ability. Next week is Tuesday, Wednesday, right before Thanksgiving. So he's playing one of those games, and he's lighting the competition a little bit. So I would go to, no, Jeremy's got to play Monday night, and then you are getting into desperation with your coaches maybe a little bit, where you could find a way to get Korpisalo in Thursday, Saturday if it doesn't go that way. But ideally, you want the Bruins to play Swayman in the next 3 games and have him go on a run.
Bruins next week have Monday at home, Columbus, Thursday at home against Utah, Saturday on the road, Detroit, to your point. So there's space in there that he could play all if he gets himself going. Let me bounce around to a couple of things before we wrap up this morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. The Shen goal to win the game in overtime against St. Louis. Good shot, really good shot, or Korpisalo will say he'd like to have that one. But I thought, at first I thought maybe it was like, oof, kind of from the outside. You know what? Shen was pretty much brought his angle right inside the dot when on the release, and I thought it was a wicked shot. I did
too. And you know what also, right? You know what else changes things a little bit is Shen's conviction to take that shot. He did not look to pass for 1 second. He put his head down and he knew exactly what he was going to do, and he brought that into the middle. So I feel like Shen had the advantage there. I don't think he was shooting just to shoot it. I think he knew what he was doing, And as
He
a
was on a
goalie,
mission in this game. He was on a mission.
yeah, and as a goalie, of course, like Corpusala said it out, like, oh, I wish I had that. But sometimes you just get beat with a good shot on a play that, you know, no one closed Shen out. He was it, like you said.
Right.
It by the time he ended up releasing the puck, where he was inside
the
the
dot.
dots, and
he was.
it was, it was labeled.
I call, and I'm not Razor Damas, but unfortunately, when Shen made the block on Pasternak on the first shot in overtime, remember when Pasta had that
Oh yeah,
chance,
yeah, you get
and
rewarded
Shen
for
made a
that.
beautiful play.
Yeah.
I said he's going to score because he earned it with
Yes, he
that
did.
play.
Again. Yep. You earn things
David
in this game.
Pasternak just brought up his name. Loved him in St. Louis Tuesday. Razor, haven't noticed him again much, and the Dallas game, and then this one. He's having a hard time. He's having a hard time putting it together. There's moments of, but that St. Louis game was such a classic David Pasternak game. That's what we yearn for.
Yeah, he's just dealing with the lack of other options and having someone on him all the time. And maybe it just comes down to him just shooting everything. You just can't make plays right now. He literally just can't look for anyone else but his shot. Like in the first period, he gets that puck over off the wall, and Brick or Judd talked about, oh, he does a good job. He pump fakes, he gets to the middle of the ice, and then he tries to find the seam.
Yeah.
Like, rip it. No more seam play. Like, David, you're just not allowed to pass the puck right now. Like, you have to take 12 shots a night and put us on our back that way.
All right. I'm not going to do it here. We're going to wrap up here, but I want to have a talk coming up about the guys that signed the big free agent contracts coming here. Speaking of Zadorov and Elias Lindholm, and just how different of a scenario it is for those guys from what they've done before. Mm-hmm. I don't have both of their contracts memorized. I know that Lindholm went to Calgary in a trade from Carolina, signed a big contract there, like a 5 or 6 year deal, whatever, coming off that. And that's where then he became a UFA. Next show, remind me, because I'm very forgetful. Holy shit, am I forgetful now? It is so sad. So the amount of shit that I'm forgetting. Tension. But I want to ask about the difference for these guys in particular, because I'm starting to wonder about how, again, it's almost a subconscious thing about this, and maybe it's a conscious thing for them too. I'll ask you that again. We'll do it next show, but like the big deal as a free agent is very different than getting traded somewhere. It's very different than signing your second deal with the same team that you've been with or whatever. I know Zadorov's moved around a bit, but you know what I mean. Both of these guys were big time in the spotlight.
And they've come to a big time place that isn't necessarily the same as Calgary.
Right. And it's in Vancouver. I mean, Vancouver is pretty crazy, but they come from there, but that was after trades. So I don't know. I think there's a conversation to be had there about what is so different about it, and are they handling it well? And maybe that's something, because you said it about Zadorov. He's got a big personality. He's very front and center. He's very open about that. Lindholm is the antithesis of that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he is complete polar opposite, but yet there's similarity is both that their efforts, their abilities have not been where they need to be.
Nope.
Regularly with this team. And so I wonder how much that pressure is affecting them.
And it gets worse every day. And as a team stays in the middle, and that it should, it will. It is. That's going to I think they got a little bit of a honeymoon, and it will continue to brighten on them. So it is a good conversation. Hopefully, a positive one the next few times.
All right, we are tentatively scheduled to do a show after the Columbus game. Although you're doing another one of those.
You got the alt cast thing going.
The alt cast. That's right. Okay. Let's talk about, folks, we're planning on doing a show on Monday night. We will keep you updated if we are going to record one after the Columbus game. We are for sure planning to do one after the Utah game on Thursday. So that's for sure. We'll let you know about Monday's game. That's going to wrap up this morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. The Bruins lose 3-2 in overtime to the St. Louis Blues, the team they beat 5 days ago in St. Louis after being down a couple of goals in the third period to win. that game there 3-2 in regulation, not overtime. Bruins also lost 7-2 to the Dallas Stars. So they've lost the last couple of games. Yes, they picked up a point, but okay, that's nice. But ... we're all yearning for a bit more. All right, everybody, we'll check in with you again. We think on Monday. In the meantime, try and enjoy your Sunday and your Monday as well, and do that by enjoying that extra cup of coffee.